Army?
Yes. We can go anytime at 6. So.
Okay. I'll go off the note. Before I call roll, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, including those people who are attending remotely and for those who are watching on Channel 14 or streaming live. As noted at the top of the agenda, the governor issued executive order in March that allows commission members to participate remotely. Tonight, commission member Chris Doe called in. For those in attendance tonight, we have set up the room to meet CDC recommended distancing guidelines and executive order from the governor. The city has also made several accommodations for the public to provide comments on the agenda items. With that, I welcome you to the DeKalb City Council, or I'm sorry, DeKalb Planning and Zoning Commission meeting this January 4th. Roll call, please.
Becker? Here. McMahon? O'Flaherty?
Here.
Klein?
Here.
Doe?
Here.
Wright? Chair Maxwell?
Here.
5 present.
Sorry, let me flip. I'll move on to see if there are any additions or deletions or corrections to the minutes from the past meeting.
Let's get approval of the agenda first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Movement to approve the agenda for tonight.
So moved.
Second.
McMahon, seconded by Klein.
There's Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. So passed. I'm sorry, now I'll go. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
The minutes.
On the minutes.
December 7th minutes.
None.
Move to pass?
I move to approve as written.
Approved by
Second.
O'Flaherty, seconded by Becker. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried. Public participation of the agenda. Anyone wishing to speak to anything that is not on the agenda, please come forward now. I don't think we have anyone. With that, we'll move to the public hearing. Tonight we have a petition by Nearing Electrical Works Company represented by Scott Dillon requesting a special use permit to allow a parking lot as a principal use when located at within 300 feet of the use served, and requested variances regarding the parking setbacks for the property located at 1030 East Locust Street, southwest corner of East Locust Street and North 11th Street. And we have a presenter.
Hi, I'm Scott Dillon.
Thanks. Could you state your name and address, please?
Yep, Scott Dillon. We're located at 1005 Locust Street here in DeKalb. All right, so here to petition for the special use permit and variance. Just quickly, let's see if I can do this. Just a couple things I want to review with you is one who is Nearing Electrical. I'll give you a little background about us. I think it's helpful to know who we are before we get to what we're asking for. I'll tell you what we're asking for and then why we need additional parking. So Nearing Electrical Works and also Connex Cable, there's 2 companies there that are been here for quite a while. 1912, Connex was added in around 2005. We produce wire and cable products. One of the last wire mills in the Midwest. And primarily we make bare copper and bare aluminum for electrical utility companies. So if you see the power line cables that run, we make those cables. We also make a number of insulated products for airports and what have you. So a variety of products. We have about 150 associates. When I look back at our rankings, I was trying to see how we rank within the community. In 2014, we ranked about 17, and that was with 9 employees. And now we're at 150, so hopefully we moved up that a little bit. We have about 300,000 square feet of building space. Of that, 200,000 is manufacturing. So here's an aerial of our locations. You can see them highlighted in orange. Those are the ones that are manufacturing, and then the ones that are highlighted in blue are primarily warehouse space. Just to locate everyone, on the bottom of the screen, it's Lincoln Highway, and then on the left side's 7th Street. So you see quite a few buildings there that we've owned. The dates on them show the progression. So the first one, 1912. That's been where we started the company for quite some time. You can see in 2000, we purchased that building to the south of the main building, and then expanded in 2008. That's where Connex Cable is. We built the building and started occupying it to the east of the main building, 2009, and then you can see we added a few warehouses, one in 2009 and then in 2018. So the challenge has been that as we've grown, you can see that we've added buildings. We've had problems with parking currently. Currently below the building that's labeled 2009, you can see we have about 40 parking spaces. Right now, on second and third shift, we have about 40 people. The challenge is when we come into first shift, where we have about 70 associates that require parking, and that doesn't include visitors or vendors or anyone making deliveries. So the request is you can see the lot highlighted in purple. We own that lot as well. We'd like to use that for parking. The variances that we're asking for are to get the parking that we require there. We will not be able to meet the setbacks from the street. So those were the prepared remarks I have.
Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
You move to the staff report?
Yeah, there's a staff report in your packet. As Scott has indicated, the petitioner, a little history of Naring, and I think it's key here to take a look at the buildings and the transition or transformation of their expansion out there, showing the need for parking. So that's a subject site. So the site, just a little background, so it's a special use request. This is a single-family zoned lot. In that district, it's a special use is required if you want to put a parking lot when it's the principal use in association that's serving a use that's within 300 feet, which obviously Naring is across the street. So that requires a special use. There's also a variance requested for some parking setbacks, which I'll go into. So there previous was a home on here, of course, that was demolished in 2012, the same year that Naring bought the lot. As the petition noted, they're expanding and have a need for additional parking. This is another aerial showing just more the particular uses of each building that Naring uses, manufacturing and warehousing and office and storage. So they've progressed, they are expanding, have been going east on Locust Street for some time. So looking at the site, that's the parking lot in red here. So recently they've had some parking over here where they have these large electrical spools out there that need storage. So they initially, a few years ago, were on 7th Street, and at the request of the city, they moved them either inside or mostly they've come over to this area, which was a parking and stormwater area. So with losing parking here, they wanted to add parking. They had owned this lot. We actually issued a permit over the summer to allow them to put some gravel on there and do some temporary storage of the spools. Those spools have been moved off and moved back over here, and they're actually enclosed with a fence with some slats in it. So, but right now, it's just coned off with traffic cones. There's gravel on it. They put in a storm sewer inlet in the northern part of the lot to drain to 11th Street storm sewer. Looking at the, so we did up a little parking layout, working with them, what would be best, proposing one-way into the site from Locust, going south to the alley, then out to 11th Street. 45-degree angle parking, they get about, there's going to be 20 spaces on the site. As noted, they have about 150 total employees. They have 3 shifts, so 70 employees on the first shift, 40 on the second and third shifts. There's approximately 45 parking spaces, roughly about in front of the this building here. And then there's on-street parking is allowed. It's a little, it's either one side or the other, except on the area between, let's see, I think it's 8th and 9th Street where it's allowed on both sides. So that's a trouble. It's not ideal for parking on the street. It is allowed, and a lot of employees use that, but when they're moving trucks or traffic down there or other equipment, which are often used in moving spools, it's not ideal. So it'd be ideal to get some off-street parking in a lot that meets their design requirements and something that's safe. So they're proposing this 20-lot space or parking lot. They will have a 6-foot-high wood fence on the west side of the lot. So with parking lots, you got to have a 10-foot setback, and this is where we get in the variances for any parking lot next to a street. So that would be required on Locust. Street and 11th Street. They have a 0 setback. So with 45-degree spaces, there are certain design requirements in our UDO where you got to have a certain width of the drive aisle, certain width of the spaces. There's a 5-foot interior lot setback, which they're meeting along the west side, and they'll also have a 6-foot-high wood fence. They want a little wider aisle in the middle, 17 feet, 12 and a half feet minimum is required. The reason they're doing that, see if I can bring up, this probably shows it the best. They have semis that want to pull in here and then back up. There's 2 loading docks right across Locust Street in their facility, and that would be ideal. They need a little wider drive aisle down the middle. That creates the variance on the setback, so they're a little bit wider. If they didn't have that, they would be able to provide a little green space in front of the parking along 11th Street and Locust. So they need that little wider aisle and able to pull semis in and back them up to these loading docks right across Locust Street. There is on-street parking allowed on 11th Street itself. I think there was a good arrow I included in your packets. It shows probably the best where parking is allowed and not. So between 8th and 9th, you can park on both sides, but as you go east, it's either one side or the other, all the way east. And then right in front of the lot, there's some on-street parking. No truck parking is allowed, so they're trying to find some safe off-street parking for their employees. This lot will not be lit at night. There's existing street lights already along Locust and 11th Street in the area, but not proposing any lights on the property itself. So first, we have the standards for special use. So we're going to have 2 motions, or proposed. We have to have 2 motions. The special use, of course, is a recommendation. The variance on the parking setbacks, that is a decision by the commission. So we have actually 2 motions. So looking at the special use standards, they meet all those, complies with the UDO, except for the variances I just went through. Will not be detrimental to the surrounding area. They actually did, I think, talk to the owner of the property to the west. Previously, Naring did, some representatives, and they preferred the owner a wood fence instead of landscaping. So that will screen their property. Rest of the area is pretty much developed, as you can see, as described by Mr. Dillon, the history of the expansion of Nearing. So there's manufacturing, warehouse, other maintenance facilities, other users, commercial users along Locust Street, single family and some two-family to the east and west, and the Kiwanis Park actually is to the south. So the parking lot actually, as the petitioner noted, could provide some parking if needed for people who use the park. It's mostly a neighborhood park, but if they needed some parking, that certainly could be used. We have some conditions at the end, which I'll go over regarding the truck parking on here. That's going to be prohibited. We have a certain weight minimum or max, I guess, and what can be on there. There's also some restrictions on the findings or the conditions regarding the timing to pave the lot. That's going to be within 6 months after the special use permit. They certainly can't do it now. And then before they can use a parking lot, it's coned off. There's nobody using it now. They have to put the fence in, and they also have to put curb stops at the parking area so people don't park over the sidewalk. So with those conditions, they meet all the requirements for the special use. The variance standards are a little bit different, but the hardship or uniqueness is that they need the width on the parking aisle and down the middle is a little bit wider than what's required so they can back their semis up and back up into the loading dock. So that requires, what that does is results in a reduced width on the setback. So we thought it'd be most important to provide that little setback in the fence along the west side next to the homes compared to against the street. Besides that, it meets all the design requirements for a parking lot. It won't be lit at night. This is for employee parking. So they meet all standards for variance. Public input, we have not received any comments from the public. Every owner within 250 feet were notified per the UDO. And we have not received any comments. So 2 motions I prepared, one for the special use permit per the drawing you see here, Exhibit A. Also, the conditions. So no trucks or semi-trailers 5 tons or larger, that's 10,000 pounds. So that's going to pretty much, I didn't copy you, but that's going to cover any, what can be parked there, obviously any type of passenger vehicle, the smaller trucks, minivans, even UPS, but once you get into box trucks, delivery, even heavier trucks would not be allowed. So, and they've agreed to all these conditions. We also require that there be some signage put up noting the weight maximum, weight restrictions up on the site, and that'd be per their approval of the city engineer. The parking lot, as I mentioned, within 6 months after special use permit approval by the council, that they have to pave it per UDO and per this exhibit. And then prior to using it at all with the gravel on there, they have to put the fence up and then put some curb stops on there so the cars don't park over the sidewalk. So those are the 3 conditions which the applicants agreed to. Also have a separate motion for the variance, pretty much approving the variances from the setback of 10 feet down to 0 feet for North 11th and East Locust per the exhibit, same exhibit, Exhibit A.
Okay. With that, I'll open it to the public if there's any public comment. I don't believe there is. And with that, I'll close the public hearing and open it to conversation by the commission. Any questions?
Yes, I went out there yesterday and looked at it. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I have no objections to it. It'll obviously be an improvement for the neighborhood to have that off-street parking and could free up some of the street parking for neighbors. As far as I know, there are no objections from the neighbors, so I certainly favor it.
Any questions, sir?
I have one question. To this point, how have you been backing the trucks in?
Very carefully.
Yeah, I think that's very, very careful.
Yeah.
So we do use.
Would you get up the mic, Scott?
sorry.
Yeah, they can, oh.
We do use 11th Street, and we've yeah, they kind of fish in that way. We've spent a little time there trying to open up more truck spaces, so, and we also allow them to park along, or stage along the side of the building, to the east. We're trying to keep them off the street as much as possible. Also working with the city to allow them to, stage elsewhere, so.
So this should relieve the on-street parking by about 20 to 25 vehicles if we approve it then. Well, 20.
Yeah, I mean, it varies. The difficult time for us is when third shift is parked and then first shift comes in, right? Because you really, if you think about it, not everyone drives, but that's the max
Sure.
demand period, so, yep,
Great, thank you.
okay.
Yeah, no, this makes a lot of sense to me, because I live on North 9th Street, and sometimes when I'm cutting down on 10th, I'm always kind of fascinated with how you guys are able to get in and out of there with such big stuff, because at the hardware store, we have issues, because we have stuff delivered behind on Gerard Street, and it's a bear, and so without having that wider lane in there, yeah, it would not be great, but logistically, it'll make it a lot
It will help.
easier, yeah.
It'll help two things, the parking, but then also the semis.
Maybe not as many grumpy truck drivers, too.
That's always a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I worked at Horizon Displays for 17 years, and I watched you guys maneuver those things in and out
Yeah.
with fascination every time.
So you've seen it in action.
Mhm. The only question, Dan, could you bring up the striping?
Sure.
The only question I have is on the northwest corner with the 6-foot privacy fence. Is there going to be any line of sight issue with people trying to come out of the parking lot?
So right now, the entrance on the northwest, so it's.
Lower left, I'm sorry.
Lower left, so it's southwest.
Talking next to the alley down here?
No, I'm sorry, yeah, southwest, yeah.
Yeah, there's a 10-foot setback there. So that should give enough visibility for we don't want to put the fence right up along the lot line
Mm-hmm.
to the south. So on the north, it's 12 feet. That's about the same as actually this home here has a chain link fence that matches right in front of their house. So
Okay.
it meets the UDO, and along the alley too, I think it's a 10-foot setback for fences. And we wanted to have low enough for some visibility down the alley, so that should work.
Just per the traffic in the alley, I guess, too, would it make sense to have a left turn only exit out of there onto 10th?
Yeah, we could, if you want to require a sign to turn left, you can go down right to the alley, it's just a little further down the block, but I think we want people exiting
Just reduce
as
traffic?
quick to the street as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to us.
That shows a little better.
And I did read that the drainage.
Yeah, they can go this alley and get to 10th, but I think
Yeah, I was
most
just
people are
thinking
going to go
about being
right, so
considerate
close
that-
right to 11th, but
Yeah, I was just thinking of being considerate.
if you want to
of the
require
houses behind it.
left turn only sign, and the applicant agrees, you can make that part of your motion if you wish.
Does anybody else agree? Or, I mean, I don't think it's an issue. I was just trying to be courteous to the people in the adjacent houses as shifts got out.
I think it makes sense. I mean, it's logical that they're gonna wanna go on the street, but if you like it, I have no objections for sure.
It's fine. I mean, I agree. They're probably going to go that way anyway, so. And then you said
I actually agree with you, Max, because I believe, isn't there a park across the street
yeah.
also from that parking lot
Yeah, that's Kiwanis Park. District
off of
was-
that alley? And that also, I think, would add some safety for that park as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. I don't know how many kids in those adjacent houses use that park, but there's always kids running up and down an alley when they're in a residential area. And then you did say that I did read that the runoff was addressed and it's going into the
Yeah,
storm
they've
sewer.
actually installed a storm sewer. It's in the upper northeast part. when they did the gravel, it's already in, and it connects to the storm sewer in 11th Street, so that would help drain the site.
Those are the only questions I have. Anyone else? Okay, I'll ask for a motion on the first portion to,
So we, yeah, two separate motions.
yeah, for the first
Two
portion
separate
for the
votes,
special
yeah.
use permit first.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Based on the submitted petition, testimony presented, and findings of fact, I move the Planning and Zoning Commission forward its finding of fact and recommend to the City Council approval of a special use permit to allow a parking lot as a principal use when located within 300 feet of the use served for the subject property as shown on the attached parking lot layout plan dated December 17th, 2020, labeled as Exhibit A, subject to the following conditions. 1, no trucks or semi-trailers 5 tons or larger shall be parked or staged on the subject property, except for the maneuvering of trucks or semis onto the site from East Locust Street for loading/unloading associated with the principal use located at 1007 East Locust Street. Signage shall be placed on the property indicating the weight restriction per the approval of the city engineer. 2, the parking lot shall be paved per the standards in the UDO and per Exhibit A within 6 months after approval of the special use permit. And 3, parking blocks and a 6-foot high privacy fence, as shown on Exhibit A, shall be permitted, installed and inspected prior to any parking on the subject site.
Second.
Do you want to add?
Motion?
Oh,
Yeah, we
and
did, yeah.
4, a left turn only sign at the end of the parking lot,
South. Yeah.
south-facing, so they have to turn left onto 11th Street.
Second.
Yeah, okay.
Motion by Flaherty, seconded by Klein. Roll call.
Becker,
Yes?
McMahon, O'Flaherty,
Yes,
Klein,
Yes.
Doe,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Chair Maxwell.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Okay. And then I'll go to the second motion, which is the variance. If anyone would like to motion to approve.
I'll do it.
Do it.
Go ahead.
Based on the submitted petition, testimony presented, and findings of fact, I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve a variance to Article 12.036 of the United Development Ordinance to reduce the minimum front yard parking setback from 10 feet to 0 feet along East Locust Street and North 11th Street for the subject property as shown on the parking lot layout plan dated 12/17/20, labeled as Exhibit A.
Motion by Klein. Seconded by Wright. Roll call, please.
Becker,
Yes?
McMahon, O'Flaherty,
yes,
Klein,
Yes.
Doe,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Chair Maxwell.
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Thank you very much.
cool.
Thank you.
We'll move to any staff reports.
Yeah, a few things. The last, or not the last one, the council meeting, the December 14th, the council approved the safe passage rezoning and plan unanimously, which the commission had previously recommended for. That night, they also approved 2 plats of re-subdivision that the commission also approved, the Thyssen on South 7th Street and also the plat for the Ferrera site. Those were approved. Next meeting will be on Tuesday, the 19th of January. We have a holiday on Monday, Martin Luther King Day, so City Hall is closed. Meeting Tuesday, the 19th, here in the library, in this room. Also handed out, I emailed you too, the schedule for 2021, the meetings. So we do have a few meetings. They're going to be on Tuesday. Those are noted in the little asterisk before them, so just pay attention to those, and we're certainly, as a staff, would notify you those as they come up. So the next meeting we'll need to elect a new vice chair because Chris Stowe's last meeting is this evening. So we wanted to
Yay,
thank
Chris.
Chris for everything. As a staff member, I appreciate your leadership over the years and all your support for myself and previous staff members of the Community Development Department. So we appreciate that, Chris. And I understand there'll be a little more formal dedication to you at the council meeting on January 25th. So for your service to the city. So I
Been a
appreciate
great 10
everything.
years. Thank you.
We got a little thank you card too. We passed around. I'll make sure you get that.
We're going to miss you.
Thank you, Chris.
As a follow-up to that too, the council has appointed a new commission member who will start on the 19th, Maria Pena Graham, who's a local realtor. Maybe some of you already know her, so she plans to start on the 19th. So she'll be a good addition to the commission. So, and then that, as I mentioned, next meeting we'll need at the beginning a motion to for somebody to recommend or nominate, I guess, a vice chair, and then we'll need a second, and then we'll take a vote. So.
And do we contact you for that?
No, it's just a motion you'll make at the beginning of the
Okay.
meeting, so, yeah, I don't decide, it's up to you. One of you need to make a motion nominating somebody else, so if you guys want to, one-on-one, of course, talk a little ahead of time, that's certainly, who may be interested, but,
Okay,
that's all, thank you.
thank you. I guess with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn, and again, thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. So moved.
First by Doe, seconded by Wright. And with that, meeting adjourned. See ya.
Thank you all.
Thank
Take care,
you.
Chris. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
Night.